In what ways does your product use, develop, or challenge forms and conventions found in real media products? Media theorist Donald Larning said, "There is no absolute judgment on creativity. All judgments are comparisons with one thing or another." I found that this quote was relevant when making my media text, especially in the research stages, when I had to analyse documentaries and found that there were certain codes and conventions in place to make the product fall under the genre of documentary. These codes and conventions are voiceovers. Now, these are used to make the documentary seem more authoritative. The voiceover is used to give more information to the reader and to guide them through the documentary, clearly stating what is happening. These are found in almost every documentary, and for this reason I included this in my documentary. And in my documentary, the voiceover clearly stated what was happening, but was also informative, saying what blood bikers do and what kind of hours they are expected to work. You'll also find that in documentaries, verisimilitude is used to make the documentary has to be realistic to therefore be believable. All documentaries are informative, and the target audience want to be educated when watching documentaries. Therefore, you must specifically look at making your documentary seem as real as possible, and this is what I did. I used real locations, I used real costumes, I used real people, and I used a real company, therefore, to make my documentary seem more believable, making my target audience feel comfortable when watching it. Interviews are also a common convention found in documentaries. You will see this in almost every documentary you watch. There will usually be an interview with a subject who will either agree or disagree with the sentiment of the documentary. Now, I had a blood biker group come and be interviewed by me, and then I include this in my documentary because firstly it adds more information, it makes the documentary seem believable, but it also makes the target audience feel comfortable when watching the documentary as they're being taken through the documentary step by step, and it's being explained thoroughly as my interviewees were explaining what the blood bikers do. Another common convention found in documentaries is realistic setups. Now, this is again used to make the documentary seem more believable. I used a hospital scene in my documentary, and I had to make this look as realistic as possible, so therefore I filmed in a beauty salon and transformed the whole place into a hospital. We used a hospital bed. It wasn't a real hospital bed, it was a beauty salon bed, but I had to make it look like a hospital bed. But I also focused on the costumes used. Now, we had a nurse in that scene, and I had to go to the school's drama department and hire out a nurse costume for my actor, as well as my doctor. I had to make sure he was wearing appropriate clothing, and the props used in the sets, such as stethoscopes, first aid kits, wires, and that therefore, I found that therefore that made the scene seem more believable. So, and I also did this for my auxiliary tasks. When you're making a TV listing magazine, you have to use big bold fonts, lots of colours, lots of images, because this is what the target audience are used to, and by putting these codes and conventions in place, the target audience will know what kind of product they are seeing, really. So in my TV magazine, I used big bold fonts, subheading, columns, quotes,